Mike Pegram of Peegs.com back at the scene of Indiana's 31-27 upset of number 18 Missouri last night, right here on Faurot Field, Memorial Stadium in Columbia, Missouri. The Hoosiers made national news, pulling out the game with a game-winning drive in the last 2 minutes of the game, capped by D'Angelo Roberts' diving touchdown. We're going to talk about what we think are the 5 keys to the game. Starting with number 1, aggressive defense. The Hoosiers racked up 11 tackles for a loss, the best we could recall in quite some time. 12 different players participated in at least a TFL apiece. That was something that stood out throughout the game. Even on the first play of the game for Missouri, Darius Latham sneaks into the backfield, tackles running back Murphy of Tigers for a 3-yard loss. Really set the tone. It continued throughout. You know, Indiana gave up 490 plus yards of offense to Missouri, but they got big plays to end drives. And the Tigers punted 6 times, I believe 6 or 7 times, after a week after the Hoosiers gave up, forced just 1 punt at Bowling Green and really struggled in the second half and lost that game, giving up 45 points. Second key, running back depth. Tevin Coleman goes out with the cramps, misses much of the first half. D'Angelo Roberts steps in, ends up with 2 touchdowns, including the two last runs of the game. Divine Redding, freshman, really powerful runner, straight up the middle on several runs, and the 2 combined for over 100 yards of rushing. Really big, and you can't go without crediting the offensive line for creating those holes against a well-regarded Missouri defense. Sure, they're down. You know, Golston, one of the best players in the nation on the line, but still kudos to Indiana for running the offense so well, and a lot of screen passes to these backs, including the huge one to Tevin Coleman in the last drive that set up the Roberts touchdown. Number 3 key, we feel that lack of turnovers was huge today. Missouri came into this game with the longest national streak in NCAA football, FBS, with 47 consecutive games forcing a turnover from the opposition. Indiana did not turn it over once. No picks for Nate Sudfeld, no drops of the ball on special teams or by the Hoosier running backs. Number 4, coaching. Tremendous call by Kevin Wilson on seeing his defense on its heels in the final minutes. You had Madyball connect with, you know, a scrambling back foot throw. I don't even think he was trying to reach Sasser, the wide receiver, who stepped in and grabbed that flailing duck, and it seemed like Indiana was doomed at that point with a lucky 20-yard gain. In the final seconds, the score was tied 24. 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the Hoosier 20-yard line. Wilson calls timeout. Here's what he had to say about that.
It was huge. Matter of fact, they were working this. I just didn't like the look. I even called a timeout. Didn't like the look on the bench from guys not playing. Like that time, we've been sitting around waiting. We've been sitting around watching. All we talked about today, we told them at halftime, we couldn't win and we couldn't lose. All we could do was play on it. And that's all we were going to do. We talked right then. Dig deep. Play as hard as you can. We kept fighting at the end. We played hard enough to be on the right side by 1 play.
Coach, seemed like
what happened was the Hoosiers stopped Missouri in the next 3 plays, even pushed them back a couple yards. Baggett comes in for the Missouri, kicks a 40-yard field goal to put Missouri up 27-24 with 2:20 to go. And then you have the heroics of Indiana's final drive, including a huge 4th down pass interference call on Missouri. Without that, you know, maybe Indiana doesn't get the win, but maybe it was karma that for all the losses Indiana's had in the final seconds, due to one play, one mistake here and there, that went in their favor and they got the victory. Finally, key number 5, we think, was overcoming the negativity that sometimes surrounds this program, especially last weekend, losing at Bowling Green after a nice first half. Defense really struggled. Bowling Green gets the win in the final seconds. You know, giving up 45 points obviously brought upon a whole huge of, you know, same as it ever was for the Hoosier football program, just can't stop people. Well, they did stop Missouri when they had to yesterday. They gave up the yards, but the bend and not break kind of happened a little bit. They made the big plays and pulled out the 31-27 upset.
You know, we're sitting there waiting next week to go back to like we were. That's what everybody's going to say. That's the way it is in our place. All the negativity, all we talked about is if we just play hard, you can't wait for it to happen. You got to make it happen, and you make it happen with aggressiveness and attitude.
Is this the game that pushes Indiana into postseason? You know, they had wins over top 25 programs in 2002 at Oregon on the road. They beat a good Iowa ranked team in 2006, but they did not go on to the postseason. Can they? But will this be the confidence builder to overcome that, to get a couple more wins? We'll begin to find out next Saturday when a good Maryland team comes for Indiana's Big Ten opener. It'll be the first Big Ten conference game ever for Maryland as they join the league, and they're playing well, coming off a nice win over Syracuse. The Terps have a really nice offense. Skill guys are terrific, but they did give up quite a few yards to Syracuse on Saturday. It could be an opportunity for the Hoosier offense to move the ball, and it'll be a very interesting test to see if Indiana can take the step and not have a letdown and get to 3-1, which could really set them up for bowl qualification. Once again, great to be here. Faurot Field, it was a terrific atmosphere last night, 66,000 fans, but at the end they were quiet, watching DeAngelo Roberts dive in from 3 yards out to give Indiana a 31-27 victory. Once again, this is Mike Pegram from Peegs.com reporting live here Sunday from Faurot Field in Columbia, Missouri.